I'm going to do something that is very familiar to you, which is perform a live work of art. You do it all the time. You stand up, you perform, you hope good things happen from the audience. And I'm going to do 4 different kinds of preparations. I'm going to perform it 4 times, a different preparation each time. Your challenge is to go through the preparation with me, and then when it's just you and me in the improv of performance, notice how it's hitting you. So for the first performance, I'm going to give you no preparation, the way it's usually done in the arts. We just come out and let you have it. First round. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. Thank you. No need. All right, here comes our second round. William Carlos Williams was born in 1883 in Rutherford, New Jersey. He began writing poems in high school, went to University of Pennsylvania where he studied both poetry and medicine. His parents hoped he would become a doctor. He decided to become a doctor and a poet. As he launched his career, he joined the Imagist movement, which was led by Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot. After some years, he separated from the Imagists, looking more for an American idiom. He fell out of public recognition in the 1940s, but in the 1950s was brought back into prominence because he was such a dedicated mentor and hero of the Beat poets, particularly Allen Ginsberg. The Red Wheelbarrow. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. Thank you. Here comes our third preparation. In a moment, I'm going to speak the poem, The Red Wheelbarrow. The opening lines set the tone for the rest of the poem. Since the poem is comprised of one sentence broken up at various intervals, it's truthful to say that so much depends on every line of the poem. This is so because the form of the poem is also its meaning. By the end of the poem, the image of the wheelbarrow is seen as the actual poem, as in a painting. When one sees an image of an apple, the apple represents an actual object in reality, but since it's part of the painting, it also becomes an actual piece of art. You will notice how the monosyllabic words in the third line elongate, and the poet has broken up the words wheelbarrow, bringing in a closer examination of the component parts of the image. And toward the end, the word glazed refreshes the entire image, setting you up for the sharp contrast between the introduction of the word white, contrasting with the earlier red, and thus bringing to conclusion our still life poem. The Red Wheelbarrow. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. Thank you. Here comes number 4. Last one. You'll be glad to hear. I recently came across the true story of what prompted William Carlos Williams to write the poem, The Red Wheelbarrow. He was a pediatrician at a time when doctors used to make house calls, and he had this one young girl patient who lived on a farm in New Jersey. And she had this illness that had her teetering on the brink of life and death for several weeks. And he would visit her day after day as she lay in this bed, not sure whether she was going to make it or not. And after he examined her this one day, he just sat beside her on the bed, and he looked down the length of the bed as she looked out all day, every day. And he looked out the window on this rainy afternoon, and out of that window, he saw a wheelbarrow and some chickens. And he went home and he wrote, "So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens." All right, if the experiment worked, you had a different experience on that 4th reading. We met in a different way in the liminal zone. You will notice, don't remember back to your first one, that's standard operating procedure in music. You come on stage, you lay it out, you don't tell people how long it's going to take. They orient, they try to figure out, they get ready to hear it, and it's over. They don't know quite what to make of it, but they aren't able to successfully make a personally relevant connection with that work of art. The second hearing, what people often do when required to speak before playing music, is the composer information. How did that work for you? Did that open up the work of art so that you were ready to go inside and make personally relevant connections? Maybe not. How about that third one, when I came back to the podium and brought up all of your hateful associations of pretentious teachers? Maybe it worked a little bit for some, but did it in fact help you to undertake that act of consequence, to go into that poem and find your place in it? Probably not. And then there was the fourth one, when I was working like a teaching artist. I took a chance for a way to experientially bring you into the world of that work of art, authentically. And then I just hoped that when we got to that work of art, you'd be able to enter it in an activated way. You could meet me in the liminal space, and we could do stuff of consequence together.